Welcome to the Israel Daily News Podcast. I'm your host, Shanna Fold, and I'm here to get you caught up quickly. I've got some top news stories for you today from Israel, and guess what? You're listening, so you're already on top of your game. Survive and thrive, people. Knowledge is the best weapon. Today is Monday, July 7th. 2025 in the Gregorian calendar and the 11th of Tammuz in the Hebrew calendar. Now, let's get to the news. Israel carried out a large-scale overnight airstrike against Houthi-controlled sites in Yemen. This is after the Houthis sent 2 missiles into Israel overnight, Sunday into Monday, causing alerts to trigger in various regions throughout the country. In response, Israel targeted ports, a power station, and the hijacked Galaxy Leader ship used by the Houthis for surveillance. The Galaxy Leader is a commercial cargo ship hijacked by the Houthis in November 2023 and later outfitted with radar equipment for maritime surveillance and operational planning. The Houthis held the ship and its 25-member international crew captive for more than a year, using the vessel to track ships and support their terror activities in international waters. The IDF says the strikes were a response to ongoing Houthi missile and drone attacks on Israel, and also accused the group of using civilian infrastructure for military purposes. Hours after the airstrikes, the Houthis fired 2 ballistic missiles at Israel, triggering sirens but causing no injuries or damage that has been reported. Defense Minister Israel Katz warned that Israel would continue to target Yemen as aggressively as it has targeted Iran, vowing that the Houthis would pay a heavy price. The Houthis, who have attacked Israeli and international ships since November 2023, claim their air defenses responded to the strikes, but residents reported widespread power outages in that area of Yemen, in the capital area. A rocket fired from Gaza struck Kibbutz Nirim on Sunday evening, just 1 week after the government approved residents from this destroyed community and other kibbutzim to return following 20 months of displacement. So many families had to leave after Hamas led an October 7th massacre that not only killed 1,200 people in this area, but also torched homes and destroyed entire communities. The Israeli military said that the projectile from Gaza was not intercepted due to human error and promised to correct it. The shell landed in a newly developing neighborhood, causing minor damage to unoccupied buildings, but no one was hurt. U.S. President Donald Trump says there's a strong chance a new hostage deal with Hamas could be reached this week as he prepares to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington. Prime Minister Netanyahu is keeping a low profile during his visit to Washington, with no public events on his schedule. Much of the trip is happening behind closed doors. Tonight, he's set to arrive at the White House around 6:30 p.m. local time. That's early Tuesday morning here in Israel, and he's going to be there for a private dinner with President Donald Trump and their spouses, skipping the usual press conferences and photo opportunities that we've seen in his previous trips this past year. Before that, Netanyahu will meet with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff at the Blair House right across from the White House. Tomorrow, he heads to Capitol Hill to meet Vice President J.D. Vance and congressional leaders. On Wednesday, he'll visit the Pentagon for talks with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and later attend a gala honoring Jewish and evangelical Christian leaders. Netanyahu is expected to fly back to Israel on Thursday. Netanyahu confirmed that Israel is negotiating a deal with Hamas, but emphasized that Hamas must be fully dismantled in Gaza. A Hamas official admitted that the group's control in Gaza has almost completely collapsed, with its leadership and security structure nearly wiped out. Negotiators have proposed a 60-day ceasefire where Hamas would release hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Trump says he can personally guarantee Israel's adherence to the ceasefire. Hamas continues to demand a permanent end to the war. Prime Minister Netanyahu and his senior ministers have received detailed medical reports on the 20 remaining living hostages, which will help determine who might be prioritized for release in a potential hostage deal. Channel 12 reports that all hostages are considered humanitarian cases, making the decision especially difficult. The proposed deal would release hostages in phases over the course of 60 days, though it's not clear who will come out first. Families of the hostages have criticized the phased approach and argue that all captives could have been returned much earlier. Meanwhile, negotiations between Israel and Hamas continue in Doha. There's no final agreement just yet. The Freedom Flotilla Coalition announced plans to launch a second boat, the Handala, in an attempt to break Israel's naval blockade on Gaza and deliver humanitarian aid. This follows last month's interception of their initial ship, which included activists like Greta Thunberg. Israeli forces detained and later deported those participants. The upcoming flotilla, departing from Italy, will carry aid, activists, medics, and journalists, aiming to spotlight the suffering of Gaza's children and the ongoing humanitarian crisis. Israel previously dismissed the effort as a media stunt, while flotilla organizers accuse Israeli forces of mistreatment and coercion. The planned mission is expected to reignite international attention and debate over the humanitarian situation in Gaza. I want to thank all of you for your interest in Israeli affairs, Israeli politics, our world politics. I also want to thank all of you who personally finance and fund the Israel Daily News podcast with monthly contributions. You can support us with your contributions by going over to our website, israeldailynews.org, and clicking on donate. The Patreon link is over there, and you can send us a monthly donation using that link. There's also an option for a one-time donation as well through GoFundMe. Our organization is operational thanks to listeners and supporters like you. Thank you to Marianne Vollinger for her monthly support. In response for your contributions, I'll send over a handwritten thank you note to show my appreciation. Follow us on social media at israeldaily.news. We are on X, YouTube, TikTok, and on Instagram. Our page just hit over 38,000 followers. You can also follow me on my personal page at Shanna Fold. My name has 2 N's in it, and I'm very sensitive about that. Here's an interesting story I picked up from Haaretz English edition. The ancient Syrian Queen Zenobia of Palmyra, known in Aramaic as Bat Zabai, who briefly defied the Roman Empire 1700 years ago today, is now the subject of debate. The question: was this queen Jewish? Experts from the University of Warsaw argue that Zenobia likely converted to Judaism, though evidence is sparse. There are 6 early Christian writings about her that discuss this. 4 say she converted, and 2 say that she was Jewish. But experts say since they found inaccuracies in those 4 texts, or actually 5 texts, that these texts may be unreliable in entirety. At the time, religiosity was a big deal, and people were moving and changing and fighting over their faith, especially in this region. And apparently, converting was commonplace at the time, at least more than it is now. Despite Palmyra's strong Jewish community and the queen's closeness to Judaism, rabbinical sources from that time period largely ignored her, likely because they viewed her as a threat to their authority and preferred Roman stability after years of devastating and deadly revolts. Zenobia's rise to power came after her husband's death, and she briefly controlled large parts of the Eastern Roman territories before being defeated by Emperor Aurelian. Scholars suggest her possible secret conversion and push toward monotheism may have been a strategic move to consolidate power, but ultimately history remembers her as a failed challenger to Rome's dominance in the eastern part of its empire, which today we can call Israel. The professor working on this research refers to the queen as an icon, famous outside academia because she was one of few female leaders who tried to tackle the Roman Empire. After the death of her Roman vassal husband, she tried to build her own empire, briefly achieving sway not only over Syria, but over large parts of the Near East. I just love stories about female powerhouses. All right. Well, that is it for today's show. Today is Monday, July 7th, 2025. Tel Aviv has a low of 26 degrees Celsius and a high of 29 degrees. That's 79 degrees Fahrenheit for the low, going up to 85 degrees for the high. We are everywhere. Don't forget to sign up to our Israel Weekly News Wrap. The Israel Weekly News Wrap is a newsletter with the top 5 stories coming out of Israel from throughout the week. And of course, with a personal note from me at the top, you can sign up for that at israeldailynews.org. I'll send you off today with a song called Makom Prati by Idan Tamler. Enjoy his song and have a great and productive day and an excellent weekend. Shavua Tov, everyone.
דרך עשן המכוניות ובין צפיפות הבניינים עד קרן שמש שתגן על התמימות ששם בפנים הזיקוקים של הילדות הפכו לזיכרון ישן אורות גדולים שנשרפו ומה נשאר לנו עכשיו? תגידי האם עדיין יש לאן לרוץ? רוצה למצוא מקום פרטי שיהיה רק לך ולי ולא יגיעו לחפש אותנו לא נעלה את זה לסטורי לטשטש את הבדידות נוכל בשקט לכבות את העולם לכבות את העולם יכולות לרדם מתי לקחו לי את הים כבר לא נושם אוויר הרים רק מזוהר ואין אחד להתנקות רק רעש שחוסם שתיקות מרגיש כמו זר אצלי בתוך הזיכרונות ואת אומרת אם תסתכל מספיק בסוף תדע לראות רוצה למצוא מקום פרטי שיהיה רק לך ולי ולא יגיעו לחפש אותנו שם לא נעלה את זה לסטורי לטשטש את הבדידות נוכל בשקט לכבות את העולם לכבות את העולם לכבות את העולם רוצה למצוא מקום פרטי שיהיה רק לך ולי ולא יגיד לחפש אותנו שם לא נעלה את זה לסטורי לטשטש את לכבות את העולם לכבות את העולם